So my mother was really good her whole life at telling lies. Lies might be too strong of a word. She was great at telling fibs and half-truths, and she would only use her fib-telling ability for good, never for evil. She had a way of softening the harsh and sometimes painful edges of the truth. She would use her fibs to avoid unnecessary arguments or to diplomatically steer somebody into a decision that was in their best interest, even if they didn't know at the time it was in their best interest. And she would create kinder, gentler realities during difficult times. And the primary recipient of all of her gentle fibs was my father. And most of those fibs dealt around family finances or the cost of things she had bought. She wasn't a big shopper. She didn't go on extravagant shopping sprees, but my father was extremely frugal. And anytime anybody in the family would buy anything, he'd be like, "Do you really need that? Why did you get that? That was a waste of money." So my mother would regularly tell fibs to avoid those arguments. For example, one time when I was young, she took me and my sister to an antique show. And for some reason, she fell in love with this old taxidermy deer head. Nobody in my family hunted. She didn't like taxidermy, but she saw this thing and she had to have it. So she paid $50 for it, and she told my sister and me, "When we get home, tell your father it was on sale and it was half off." So when we got home, she actually got a red pen, put it through the price tag, scratched out the 50 and wrote 25. So when my father saw this, he questioned her aesthetic of, "Do you really want this deer?" But being the frugal man he was, when he saw it was half off, it was on clearance, he understood you can't pass up a bargain like that. So he was like, "Okay, I get it. You couldn't skip this deal." And they put it on the wall next to the fireplace. It was there for 30 years. Argument avoided. Domestic bliss was achieved. Another time she used her fibs with my father was in what now in our family lore is known as the Great Hamburger Incident. It was in the mid-1970s. McDonald's was celebrating their 20th anniversary. And in honor of the anniversary, they had slashed the prices of all of their hamburgers to the price that they were originally when McDonald's opened in the 1950s. They were all 15 cents. Well, my father, being the frugal man he was, lost his mind. And he brought me, my brother, my sister, my mom, all of us to McDonald's. Now, the problem was McDonald's knew people would want to buy a lot of burgers, so they put a 20-burger limit on every person who bought the burgers. Didn't stop my father. He gave us each $3. Each one of us individually went up and ordered 20 burgers. Now, for those who are not good at math, for a family of 5, that's 100 hamburgers. Now, I was 7 or 8, could probably eat 1.5 burgers. Same for my sister, my mom. My brother was older. Maybe he got to 3 or 4 burgers. My dad maybe down to 5, I'm not sure. But that still left about 85 hamburgers left over. My dad wasn't deterred. He said, "Every day for lunch and dinner, we're going to be eating these hamburgers." Now, I don't know if anybody has ever eaten cold hamburgers from McDonald's that have been in the refrigerator for a couple days. Let me tell you, they're not very good. Now, my mother, instead of getting into an argument of, "What are you thinking? Why did you buy these gross burgers that are filling up our refrigerator?" Instead, every day, she would take 5 or 6 of them out of the refrigerator when my dad wasn't around, put them in the garbage can, and put other garbage on top of it so he couldn't see it. And she'd tell him, "Oh yeah, me and the girls, every day we've been eating the burgers." So little by little, they started to disappear. It still took over a week to get through the 100 hamburgers. But they were done, finally, after about 10 days. Again, my father never knew. Domestic bliss was achieved. Now, all of her fibs didn't revolve around making my dad feel good about his frugality. She shared with my sister and me one time that when they first got married, my father was young, liked going out and partying and drinking with his buddies. And every weekend he would go out with his buddies getting drunk and leave my mom at home alone. And my mom quickly realized that this is not what she signed up for, and she wasn't going to put up with it. But instead of having an argument saying, damn it, you go out every weekend and I'm left home alone and I don't like this, she came up with her own plan. She went to the local store, got a bottle of red wine and a pack of cigarettes. She didn't smoke. She came home, poured a little wine into 2 wine glasses, dumped the rest down the sink, burnt a couple cigarettes, put them out in an ashtray, put them on the table next to the empty wine bottle and the 2 glasses. Well, when my dad came home after midnight, he immediately smelled the smoke. What's going on? Oh, Joe from my job called. There's some stuff going on at work, and he just wanted to come by and talk about it. What's with the wine? I guess he just was being nice, and he brought some wine over. I figured you weren't home, you wouldn't care, so, we had wine and talked for the night. My dad was not pleased. And perhaps not surprisingly, he stopped going out every weekend with his buddies and started spending more time with my mom. Turned out to be a pretty good marriage. They were married for over 50 years. It was great. They were very happy. Now, I can't say that my mom's loving fibs were the cause of their happy marriage, but I think it definitely played a role. And while they say honesty is the best policy, sometimes not telling the truth is the key to domestic bliss. Thank you.